Let me turn to the matter of how the lobby uses its considerable influence to affect the prospects for peace in the Middle East, starting with how it has shaped U.S. policy toward Iran. My argument is that Israel and the lobby have worked assiduously over the past 15 years to ensure that the United States and Iran have a confrontational relationship, and maybe even a war if Iran does not end its nuclear enrichment program. Starting in the early 1990s, Israel began thinking about Iran as a serious threat, in good part because there was evidence that Tehran was beginning to move forward with its moribund nuclear program. The Rabin government began warning the Clinton administration about Iran in 1993, shortly after Clinton took office. And naturally, the lobby went to work to push Washington to aggressively confront Tehran. Throughout the 1990s, however, Iran's leaders were interested in improving relations with the United States, which had been terrible since the 1979 Iranian Revolution. President Rafsanjani, who came to power in 1989, began the process of reaching out to Washington. But it was President Khatami, who succeeded Rafsanjani in May 1997, who made the most serious effort to effect a rapprochement with America. Nevertheless, Israel and the lobby resisted these efforts to improve U.S.-Iranian relations, and the two countries remained bitter enemies. For example, the Clinton administration, with prodding from Israel, adopted the policy of dual containment in 1993. It called on the United States to directly contain Iran rather than rely on other countries in the region to do the job, which had been our policy before that point. A year later, the lobby played the key role in getting Congress to pass the Iran-Libya Sanctions Act, even though there was significant opposition to that legislation within the Clinton administration, and even though it infuriated our European allies. Ziv Schiff, the military correspondent for Haaretz at the time, noted, quote, "Israel is but a tiny element in the big scheme, but one should not conclude that it cannot influence those within the Beltway." Similarly, James Schlesinger, who has held a number of cabinet-level positions in different administrations, remarked in the wake of these sanctions that, quote, "It is scarcely possible to overstate the influence of Israel's supporters on our policies in the Middle East." It is worth noting that the oil lobby, which is often said to be the real hidden hand behind U.S. Middle East policy, was opposed to overturning the Conoco deal, and also opposed the legislation to impose sanctions on Iran. In fact, when Vice President Cheney was head of Halliburton, an oil services company, in the late 1990s, he used to complain openly about America's sanctions-happy foreign policy. In the immediate aftermath of September 11th, Iran again tried to reach out to the United States. In his State of the Union address in January 2002, President Bush rewarded Iran for its assistance by putting it on the axis of evil, and then making it clear in subsequent months that he was determined to bring about regime change in Tehran as well as Baghdad. Despite America's continuing hostility, Iran made yet another attempt to improve relations with the United States in May 2003, shortly after Baghdad fell. President Khatami offered to negotiate on Iran's nuclear program, help stabilize Iraq, effectively end Iran's support of terrorist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah, and accept a two-state solution, which in effect meant recognizing Israel. At the time, both the Israelis and the neoconservatives were thinking mission accomplished regarding Iraq, and they were pushing the Bush administration hard to confront Iran, not cooperate with it. It's not surprising that the president snubbed Tehran's offer.